Before we begin, this story contains depictions of violence and dark themes that some listeners may find disturbing. It is intended for a mature audience. This is a work of fiction. All characters, events, and incidents are products of the author's imagination. Viewer discretion is advised. Everyone who was there was ready to attack them, and as for Abberline and that officer, they too were ready for a fight. However, even before it was to begin, it was interrupted. Someone came piercing through the crowd. "What the hell is happening here? Who shot?" kept crying, and a moment later, that person was here, right where everything that had happened. The silence was there as he looked at the shot person lying there on the ground, as he saw Abberline and that officer, and asked around what exactly had been happening here. "I will tell you what has been happening here," said Abberline as he started to explain who he is, what he is here, and why he shoot that person. "I just wanted to have a talk to him and nothing else, but seems like that they didn't like me talking to him, and didn't want me to talk. You tell me, is there something your boss is hiding or scared of something, huh?" A moment later, he took Abberline and that officer along with him. "You are on your own risk. If something were to happen there and you were to die, and this girl taken, you are responsible for it." Abberline just laughed as he heard those words there. He looked at her. "You are a strong woman, you can protect yourself," he whispered to her as soon as they were almost at the top floor, had been taken to the room, and asked to wait. Being there in that room, they both were just looking around. The furniture, the portraits, everything that was there. It seems a bit odd there. The smell, the energy, there's something not right there. Been looking for a moment there. Abberline came to a stop right in front of a portrait. "Is that him, the leader of the syndicate?" he questioned as she shook her head a little at this. "Looks like it." Abberline laughed a little. "He runs a brothel. Why does he dress like that?" "He is the king of some kingdom." Abberline said it with mockery in his voice. "Because I am," came a voice from behind as Abberline turned and, along with him, she did too, and there he was, the man from the portrait, dressed royal and with a grim smile on his face. He slowly walked towards them. "There's royal blood in my veins. My ancestors used to rule this very land." Abberline laughed. "And now this bloodline has been reduced to being a pimp." He laughed as he heard Abberline and had come to a stop right in front of him. "Say whatever you like, but you can't change the fact that I still rule this land, maybe from the shadows, but I rule it." Abberline released a little giggle there. "Don't believe me? Ask your superiors, they will tell you." There's a little pause between them, before he sighed. "The leader, what brought you here, and what could be so important that you have to shoot one of my men to meet me?" Abberline shook his head a little. "Well, all of that could have been avoided if he had just let me come to you. He got what he had asked for, but now I need some questions answered. I hope you can do it." He smiled at Abberline and pointed towards the couch lying nearby, gesturing to take a seat there. They sat down. "So, what is it? What is so important that you would like to talk about, huh?" Abberline sighed as he stared at him from head to toe, observing him there. They sat in silence for a moment or so. During this time, Abberline just observed the leader before sighing and speaking up. "Do you know a certain Emma Buffey?" Abberline asked, having been lost in his thoughts. The leader slowly shook his head. "No, never heard of her." Abberline smiled at him. "You sure about it, huh? Give it a thought, you might remember something, as she is one of your prostitutes." The leader laughed there. "One of my prostitutes," he said there are thousands of them, and I don't know everyone's name." Abberline gave him a little smile as he shook his head. "Well, she was recently murdered," the leader gasped, acting all surprised, "and this isn't the first time it happened. There are previous cases where they were murdered, and some members of the syndicate were named. You sure you don't know anything about it?" He remained quiet, acting like he did not know anything there, but there had to be something that he had been hiding there. Abberline could feel it there. "But what? What syndicate does to its members, it's none of your concern. It's our internal matter, so I request you to keep yourself away from it, as I don't think you would like to get in trouble there, do you?" Abberline laughed as he heard him. The leader looked a little confused there, as he looked at the officer next to him, and swirled his finger next to his head, asking her if there was something wrong with him. "Playing with someone's life. I don't think that this is a small matter. Maybe they work for you, but that doesn't mean you own them, as if you're still living in the past. To tell you, slavery no longer exists." Leader laughed at what Abberline said there. "You must be delusional if you think that slavery never ended. It's just got rebranded. We call it now corporate, and a corporate owns its employees. Your department gets your share to stay away from our business. Just say your amount, and you will get it too, and ignore what we does." The leader smiled from ear to ear as he said those words there. The silence was there between them for a moment or so, as Abberline sighed, smiled a little at him, before he rose up from his place. The female officer followed him. "There are two ways to kill a person, humane and inhumane. If you had just put a bullet in her head, I might not even be here, but after what you did to her, the way you have killed her, you just make things worse for yourself." Abberline took his leave from there. Everyone had their eyes on him, with a sort of rage in them. He remained quiet, ignored them all, as he continued to move forward from there, and as he reached the exit, he bumped into someone. "If you want a touch, you can just ask, you don't have to bump into me like that." It was one of the prostitutes whom he bumped into. He apologized as he moved forward from there, knowing that he did not bump into her, but she bumped into him, and as he took a step away, she held him by his hand, and pulled him towards herself. "You don't have to be shy, you can touch me wherever you like," she said as she showed off her cleavage. But he wasn't paying attention to it, rather, there's something else. As she pulled him closer, she slipped a piece of paper in his hand and gave him a wink. "Well, I love to, but I have to go now," Abberline said to her as he pushed himself away from there. "Stay safe, dear," she said as Abberline moved away from there. As he got out of there, he opened the piece of paper and started to read it. "What is it?" asked the female officer. "Looks like coordinates. Been getting curious about it." "To what?" she asked, as he shook his head a little at this. "Not sure, let's find that out," he said as they both started to move towards the station. Everyone was surprised to see him there at this hour of the day, but being there, he ignored everyone and went to the person he needed the most. He, too, was just surprised to see him there. "Sir, why are you here at this hour?" he asked Abberline, as without wasting a moment there, Abberline gave him the paper. "You know what that is?" Abberline asked him. And with a single glimpse of it, he knew what that was. "Seems like coordinates to some place." Abberline laughed. "I know that, but I need to know to where." A little pause between him, as he was looking right at the piece of paper. "Can you tell me or not?" Abberline asked him, as he shook his head a little at this. "I can, but it's going to take some time." Abberline smiled at him. "Then do it as soon as you can," Abberline said to him with a smile on his face there, as he asked the female officer to bring him a cup of coffee. "I need it as soon as possible." He started to look for it. While he was working there, Abberline just sat there in silence. When a woman entered, the in charge of the station, well, at least for that hour, seeing her there, Abberline smiled at her and just greeted her, but she didn't seem happy to see him there. "What are you doing here at this hour?" she questioned him as she moved towards him. "Nothing, I just needed some help." He pointed towards him. "Once he is done, I will be gone from here." She was standing right in front of him, staring. Silence was there between him, and a sort of awkwardness between him. "That was a stupid move you made there," she said to him after a little pause, and Abberline couldn't understand what she was talking about. He just shook his head there. "Pardon," he said to her with a smile on his face. "You know what I am talking about, what you did in the brothel. You were lucky you managed to get out of there alive." He laughed a little at this. "Say whatever you like, I was just doing my duty," she sighed, having thought of something there. "No, you risk one of my officers' lives for some nonsenseness." She said those words there when the officer entered in there with a cup of coffee. This is not the first time a prostitute has died. Over the years, a lot of them have died, but their cases are open and shut. Abberline released a little chuckle there, because they are prostitutes, and don't deserve to be treated like a human, or you get tips every month. A little pause was there between them. "There's more to it, don't get deep into it, or you will die, you understand that?" He just laughed there. "And why do you care for my life, or any of you does, huh?" Another pause. "But why are you so interested in this case? She is just a nobody, you can just ignore this case, no one will say a word to you." A nod from Abberline. "You think I am interested in this case, or any other case for that matter, huh?" A little pause as he pierced right into her eyes. "I am not, but the way they killed her, it's kind of painful to look at. I just went there to talk, but what I saw there, I am certain they are hiding something there, something bigger. I have this feeling, there's something that has been going on in this city, something that might destroy it. I am just trying to save it. I don't know what that is, but I have this feeling." She laughed as she heard him. "And you are acting on a feeling. We are officers, we don't act on feelings, we act on evidences, and the weight of the person we are up against, and there's also political power, and in this case, everyone is against you. You will die, if you didn't stop, you understand it?" He laughed at this, been looking right at her, like he did not care for anything in this world.